half-time at the Camping World Stadium in Orlando. It is Barcelona 2, City 1. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can join Natalie, who's in the company of Izzy and Nedum.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. And if you stayed awake in the UK till 2:10 for the half-time on this match, congratulations, you are a hardcore blue. But welcome wherever you are joining us around the world. So we had to wait a while after that delay, but the first half made it certainly worth it. So it is 2-1 to Barcelona at half-time. Should be 2-2, just saying. Cross the line. We'll show you in a minute. But it's 2-1 at the minute. What did you make of the first half, Izzy?
I think as expected, it was a typical pre-season game. I think both teams are trying stuff. They're taking risks. There's a lot. It seems to be a lot packed in the central areas. A lot of players in and around the ball in the middle part of the pitch. But 3 pretty nice goals, to be fair, from both teams. But I totally agree with you. I know Nedum doesn't, because Nedum called it straight away. I called it as a goal. Nedum called it as not.
What score is it?
I can't wait to see the
what score is it?
I hope that the producers...
So how's it go if it wasn't given?
Because it crossed the line. They're not using goal line technology, clearly, but I think are we looking at it right now?
Nedum, tell us what you see.
Here we go.
It's a nice bit of play from Oscar, yeah. Good cross, and then something happened. I don't know what it was.
Don't tell me that's not gone over.
You just, unless you can get... This is one of the problems, unfortunately, with some of the staging in America. You don't get enough angles to see stuff for definite.
That ball's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, it's really, really good. See, unfortunately, you just got to go off vibe sometimes, and, you know, your vibe...
Nedum, keep watching.
Nedum.
What am I saying?
Nedum.
What am I saying?
That's gone over the...
You see, you could be tricked there. You could be tricked.
Back. There we go.
You could be tricked there.
There
Tricked
we go.
there.
There we go.
You could be tricked. You could be tricked.
If that's not over the line, then...
Look, I know we're all going slightly delirious, but that is way over.
Stay sharp. Stay sharp, Nedum. I know it's late.
Listen, I'm quite old, so maybe I missed it. Perhaps that's my issue.
Sadly, that goal was not given. Otherwise, it would have been 3-3 for Erling Haaland. So it does stand at 2-1 at half-time. Right, let's have a look and talk through all of the goals. So we'll go in order, shall we? Let's have a look, first of all, at the Barcelona goal that made it 1-0. I love the fact that we can just have a look back at the goals when we're doing pre-season friendlies. It's much nicer. OK, so this was in the 24th minute. So this is going to be a goal by Victor. It's coming up. What did you make of it, Nedum?
I think Barcelona have shown in this first half that they do like little good bits of link up, say a 10, trying to find space to feed someone in behind. But I think defensively from City, they were probably just a bit too stretched at the back there. I think there's a bit of rust in terms of decision making from maybe Vardy or from Phillips. And in fairness, they don't have a defensive relationship because they don't play the back together, so they don't quite know each other's tendencies just yet. So that allowed the opportunity, but it was a good ball, and you know the run was good. And when he's through on goal there, it's a good finish, but that kind of shows what Barcelona are. Even though they don't have a ton of their first teamers out there, it feels like you're watching Barcelona, if that makes sense, even just with different names. So, you know, that was a well-worked goal from them, but I think if they look back at that from a City perspective, they probably would have maybe not... I think Vardy maybe might not have gone out to press, and as a consequence could have been there to sort of impact that a bit sooner.
OK, so that made it 1-0 to Barcelona, and then City equalised 13 minutes later. Nico O'Reilly got himself on the score sheet. Another academy lad getting himself on the score sheet this pre-season. Izzy, can you talk us through this one? What did you make of it?
Yeah, it's a pretty solid finish, isn't it? Typical City, a lovely little pass there. Is it Guardiola that plays that pass?
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful little slid pass in, sharp, checks his shoulder, has a little look. But I like this. Watch McAtee there. I know that he is slightly involved in that. He just blocks the defender getting anywhere near O'Reilly just so he can make that finish himself. But we might get a better angle on this one. The run's great, sharp, good first touch. Yeah, a clean little finish through the keeper's legs, but really nice goal from him.
It's a calm finish, but I love the ball by Vardy as well. It was like a slicer. It went through, how many, like maybe 4? Took out 4 Barcelona players with one pass.
Yeah, very much so. And he was on his weaker foot as well. But I suppose for him, it's probably easier for him to make that pass than it was to score at the Bernabeu on his right foot from 25 yards out, I guess.
Either or.
Yeah, either or. But that was good. But I think that goal in itself, for as much as it was well created from City, you can see the sort of pre-season element to it, because Vardy in transition has had all the time in the world in midfield. And you could see that Barcelona, their line was stretched. And I think some of that's unfamiliar faces, you know. But again, it's a great moment for Nico, and I'm sure he's going to celebrate it afterwards.
Absolutely. I wonder how he will celebrate as well, yes.
Sure, we'll find out.
Yes, we will find out. And then, sadly, Barcelona took the lead in the absolute last few seconds of the first half. His goal, it came from Torre. We're having a look at that now again. Oh, the little step over there. What do you make of this one, Izzy?
You know what? Like, you've got to hold your hands up. I love football like that. Like, there's nothing special about that pass, but it's just the awareness, just to dummy the ball, let it run. Takes two players out. I think you mentioned, didn't you, Nedum, Kovacic maybe just a little bit off it in the middle area, but this pass should never find that player from there with the gaps it's gone through, but that level of awareness is clean, and then just the touch and the finish. It's good. You've got to say hats off, good play, and Edison was pretty close to getting a hand on it. I think Shaun Goater said in commentary, you know, he mentioned how close he was to tucking that around the post, but unfortunately it's gone in.
Yeah, I think you'd be, from a City perspective, even though it's a good goal for Barcelona, you're disappointed to concede it with the last kick in the first half. Because I think there were times as well in that first half, from the camera views we were getting, where Guardiola was getting frustrated. So even though it's a game where the result isn't going to be the biggest thing, he's someone that lives and dies by details. And there are one or two which I'm sure he won't be happy about, and he'll discuss at the half-time. But I don't think it's going to sort of take away from his plan for whatever he wanted from this game today.
In terms of that plan for this game today, we talked before the show about how the team were going to line up, and we suggested that Calvin Phillips might be playing centre-back, and he was. How have you both rated Calvin Phillips at centre-back?
Well, I'll speak to a former Manchester City defender.
What
do you think? I mean, I've not been... It's clearly not his natural position.
Yeah.
You know, he's been the last man at times, and you could say it's not his fault, but I'm not saying it is his fault, but he's definitely not completely comfortable there. You can see that. He's a central midfield player. I don't know what you think, maybe a bit more analysis.
No, that analysis in itself is more than you'd get from a lot of people anyway, and, you know, bigger seats. But what I would say is, you know, there are times you can see where he looks like a midfielder at the back, but overall, I think he's done well. I think he's contested. He's been good on the ball overall. I think as well, because of his style of play, he's played quite a few progressive, say, like passes forward, diagonal balls and things like that. And it's a different look to, say, the centre-backs, which we usually see from City, who are more sort of linked with short passes and linking the sixes and other players like that. So I think that he's a threat when he's on the ball from that standpoint, and being able to do it from deeper as well is key. I think, as I said, for the first goal, I think the sort of relationship between himself and Vardiol is one whereby the more they'd play together, the less likely there would be that goal would be conceded again. But I think he's done well. I think he's done a job. I think he's tried to block some shots in there. He's made some good interventions. And I don't think he's stood out in a negative way, which means that he's doing a good job, because as far as playing against a side that's technically good, he's very much in there doing the job that he needs to do, in my opinion.
He's been working hard as well. We've seen him up the other end of the pitch as well. He had a free kick that he took at one point that we can see as well. I mean, he was pretty close with it as well.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. You know, technically speaking, in terms of striking the ball, getting curve on it, you know, he's a really good player. Obviously, he doesn't necessarily get a ton of opportunities to do that at City, you know, for selection, and also some of the magicians that just happen to be on the field throughout most of the time anyway. But he certainly had the confidence to do it, and there was no one else stepping up. So clearly people back him as well. I think stuff like that is key. And I think that shot itself as well there, even though City 2-1 down, there was a spell where the goalkeeper for Barcelona had to make quite a few saves. They were under quite a bit of pressure. And it's just a reminder again that, like, as I say, they're 2-1 down, but, you know, the sky is not falling, and, yeah, there are positives to be seen out there.
And one of those positives is definitely the performance again by Oscar Bobb. He continues to stand out on this tour. We can see he had a few great moments in this first half. He's just really impressing on this tour in general, is he? Yeah,
he's brilliant. I loved the exposure he had in the first team last season. Notably the Carabao Cup defeat away at Newcastle. Obviously, yeah, defeat not great, but his performance was a huge positive. I think he's most effective off the right-hand side, coming inside. He can go down the outside, like he's just shown there, which I really like. Comes inside. He's so clean on the ball. He's tidy. The ball sticks to him. He's got a really nice level of awareness of where to move the ball, where to manipulate. And I think, you look here, just playing on the back line, he's confident. He looks up, sees no one in there, waits, and then delivers that almost... Well, that's
almost went in.
Almost went in. That is a goal. That's a goal. But that's come from him. He's brilliant to watch. I can't wait to see more of him, hopefully, throughout the season as well.
Yeah, he really is having a standout tour so far. Have you been enjoyed watching? Or how much have you enjoyed watching him so far, Nate?
Yeah, he's awesome. You know, he's such a talented young player that he's really feeling his way into what is a very, very successful side. But the way he's playing in this pre-season, it's like he's a senior. It's like he's been doing it for years. I think that says a lot about sort of the dedication he's had to his craft, to his sort of to listening to what the manager's saying and feeling comfortable within that space to do things. And what I'm seeing now is like his ability to get past people. There's a left footer on that side that's constantly going down the line, but then you also know he can take it inside. Like, is he setting you up for something further down in the game? I don't know. And as I've looked back at those pictures, have you seen within rugby when they call it like a goose step almost?
Yeah.
He's kind of hitting people with that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him.
What's a goose step?
I can't.
Stand up.
There's a video I did last year for City with a couple of the players who were playing in the NRL equivalent of like Finalissima.
Yeah.
And Nathan Cleary was one of them, and I had to do like a bit of a goose step, and I can't do it now. I can't do it. It's too early in the morning. I can't do it. Okay. But he's almost like making someone just almost get stuck in the ground and then taking off because you can't read which way they're going to go once you set it up. But that's definitely his move as I'm seeing it now, and it's going to be tough to defend against for sure.
The goose step, I love that.
Listen, I didn't create the term. I've only done one.
You've added it to Oscar Bobb, though.
Listen, when some other people take that exact term and start using it later in the season, just remember this moment at 2 in the morning, yeah?
How will I ever forget this moment at 2 in the morning? So Oscar Bobb has had quite a few chances, he's been standing out as well, and Jack's had a few chances as well. Jack's had a few good moments. Let's have a look back at some of those as well. So we can see Jack.
That's so naughty, that, you know. It's never in a million years would I think about taking the ball in a half volley to control it from a 40-yard diagonal. You can tell.
Composure as well.
You could tell this is a guy that spent a couple of years with Mahrez. That's what you can tell. Those two must have been were so close. But I like it. Jackie's there and he's trying to be progressive. He's attacking. He's trying to get the shots off. I think he's probably had 2 or 3 in that half. He's beaten his man a few times as well. And you know, maybe he's trying to prove that point. At least of all to anyone that's staying up to watch it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. That is so beautiful to watch. I'm glad we got to see that a couple of times. How hard is that, Izzy, what we just saw in the way that he took that ball down dead?
Don't even try it.
If anyone, you know, saw me play last night with Nedum, the 5-a-side, no, I'm only joking. It's tricky. It's tricky. It really is. And it's come from that guy, innit, Calvin Phillips, that you were mentioning on the ball, that switch of play.
So I'm watching the game now.
It's underrated.
It certainly is.
But it's difficult, the confidence to take it on the move. And he's got that little jink, hasn't he, as well, Grealish? We've seen it so often coming inside. And I like that. Quite often, I think he's cut inside a little bit too... Oh, look at that again. Just to take it on the move. The fullback's got no chance. He's caught in 2 minds. Do I dive in? Because he knows if he dives in, Grealish is going to take it past him. He's got full control of the player and the ball in that moment. It's fantastic play from Grealish.
Who have you played with that can do that? Who comes to mind when you're thinking that you've played with who's got that sort of first touch?
To be honest, it's not about who can do it. It's about who thinks that's the best option. Because most people I know just wouldn't try and control the ball that way. Most people try and take it on the full.
Yeah.
Because that thing about trying to take on a half volley is, if you think about risk reward and so on, it looks great, but when it goes wrong, it bounces out of play and you look ridiculous. But one thing I found throughout the years with Mahrez and now, as you can see with Grealish, like, that to them is the easiest thing in the world.
But Mahrez does it probably one of the best I've ever seen at taking the ball on the move like that. Bernardo Silva does it well as well.
Yes.
De Bruyne can do it when he wants. He can flick it over his head as well if he needs to.
Yeah.
But Grealish does it really well. And he give himself, if he starts with that width, he's got the time and the space to come onto the ball as well if needed, you know, adjusting to the flight of it. But that's that confidence, Calvin Phillips playing it on the diag to know that Grealish is going to take it. And it's just that relationship, isn't it, on the pitch?
Absolutely.
It's great to see.
And to go into a little bit more detail about, say, that one of the big differences I found through all the years that I've played with some of the incredible players that I've played is, like, there's controlling the ball and there's manipulating the ball. And I think the best players are the ones who manipulate it as the ball comes to them. It's not just to stop it and then try and do something. They're moving it in a way that suits them. And Bernardo Silva's the perfect example of that. Like, it's basically like the ball is on a string. And not everybody can do that, but the ones that can, you know, it's almost like they're playing a different sport at times.
Oh, and it's so beautiful to watch. It's so lovely to watch as a fan. We're seeing some live shots there of the pitch in Orlando. I can see Moonchester on the big screen is absolutely working the crowd there. He's in his new third kit. Oh, my God, he's shaking his touche. Don't know if you can see that. This night has just got weirder. Yeah, that was Manchester on the big screen shaking his touche. We're seeing some players warm up there as well. We've seen a lot of changes in both the Celtic game and the AC Milan game. Expecting 4, 5, 6 maybe at half-time again?
I don't know, you know. I really don't know. You mean, you'd say so in pre-season, but I also think, like, you're starting to ramp up now, getting closer towards the season starting, and this is where you need your players, your Grealishes, your Haalands, your Oscar Bobbs to get minutes. I think you'd expect to see them on, you know, for maybe until 75 at least, maybe 60, 75 in between that time. They need to start ramping up now and getting towards a full 90 in their legs. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there will be a few changes. It'll be interesting to see. And Pep didn't look too happy there either, did he? No. He had a little hit of the dugout, which, you know, there's clearly something there which has frustrated him. But it'd be really interesting to see what he does with the bench in the second half.
OK, there we go. That's Hansi Flick coming out, so we must be not far off the start of the second half. If there is any changes in the second half, at half-time, of course, Alistair Mann and Shaun Go to her on our commentary will let you know it straight away. If you'd like to watch the second half of this game, you need to do so on City Plus, so get yourself over to City Plus now. It's a great time to sign up if you haven't already, because, of course, we've got the season, a long season ahead of us where you'll get some incredible content, as always. So we'll be back here at full-time, where hopefully we might be talking about City's first win of this pre-season. So enjoy the second half. It's over to Alistair Mann and to Shaun Goater.
Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, we'll do our very best to keep you updated with substitutes, but they are coming thick and fast from the previous games, AC Milan and the Celtic game. There were so many, it was difficult to keep abreast of them all, but we'll do what we can. What I can tell you as an absolute fact is that it is a sellout crowd.